This was at last the final leg of our journey to our winter berth in Deganwy Marina. It had been somewhat of a whirlwind with a fair bit of fabulous sailing and a garnish of drama, but we were here. For this last passage, I basically wanted to solo sail, but still not firing on all cylinders, I had a friend along with me. John is the guy who bought Miss Rosie off us a few years ago and is doing an extensive refit, but he's never sailed, so it was a great opportunity for him to see what sailing was like for the first time, and for me to effectively solo sail, but with a bit of help on anything physical, and be able to explain stuff along the way which John has read about and seen on videos, but not experienced firsthand. This is the Gazelle anchorage moorings where we've stayed before. It's all familiar territory now, this. I'm very happy to be back in this part of the world. Did you do that?
Radio falling off.
Oh right, it's right, the engine just cut out, but it was just the radio fell off and knocked the throttle stick. So we're all good. We're sailing under the main We're dead downwind, so I've got the Genoa rolled in. But as soon as we go round the corner past the island, we'll be able to sail all the way into Deganwy then. Fantastic day. Lovely. We're out round Penmon Island, crossing from from Puffin Island rather, to kind of the fairway marker, which is basically at Penmon Mawr on the coast behind me. There, we're under one reef in the main because we're sort of it's quite blustery. It's about 15-16 knots continuous and just going over 20 in the gusts. So we've got one reef, just because I'm being pathetic, and full Genoa. And we're doing about 6.5–7 knots, engines off. We should be there very, very soon. It's a fairly short trip, but I love it. This little patch of water is going to be our training ground, I think, for a bit, where we can practice solo sailing. I've got a friend with me today called John, because he's actually the guy that bought Miss Rosie off us years and years and years ago, and he's been working on her. I'll hopefully get to show her to you at some point. But he's not really a sailor, he's never done any sailing, he's just sort of new to boats, not new to boat work now, but new to sailing, and he wanted to come with me for the trip because he's in this neck of the woods. So anyway, here we are, sailing beautifully across to Deganwy from Puffin Island.
Here in any of your videos, you should go credit.
I know, I won't put you in the videos unless you explicitly say you're okay with it. That's all right then.
Oh, is that water boiling?
Is that what?
Put the water onto boiling, didn't it?
Did you put the kettle on?
Yeah. Has it gone off a bit?
The rug's in the sink. Oh yeah. Got him. Cups of tea on the go. We're keeled over quite a bit.
Sorry, did you talk to me?
No, I'm talking to the camera.
Oh.
But yeah, I think the way that we make these YouTube videos is changing slightly. I'm sort of more doing it a bit more like fly on the wall type of stuff, because you can never predict exactly what's going to happen. So somebody commented on the last video about, or a couple of videos ago, about the radio chatter, and I was like, well, I can edit that out, but it sort of doesn't make sense to, because that is part of the sound of sailing. The sound of sailing is the wind and the weather and the waves and the sea and the, you know, all the rest of it, and the flogging of the sails. But it's also the radio chatter and the stupid conversations, and, you know, trying to sort of make it as though you're actually along with us for the ride, that we're not giving you some sort of sanitized, edited, curated version of that. So things like me drying the worktop here, getting all the coffee off with a clean tea towel, which is going to make Melissa annoyed. That's just real life. Whereas previously we sort of do lots of heavy editing. I don't know, we might not stick to that, but I like this way of doing it. Right, oh, let's do that a bit more. I've even got the camera in the right direction. Yeah. Right, coffee for John. There you go.
Thank you, Andy.
Hot, hot. Just be careful where you put it, because it absolutely, definitely will fall off and smash. Winter is almost upon us. The nights are getting longer, the days are getting shorter, everything's getting darker and colder. And while we're in the marina, which is great, we can plug into the shore power. So we've got unlimited electricity, except that we want to keep the bill down. So it's really important that we maximise the efficiency of the solar production on our boat. If you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you'll know that we've got 2 solar panels on the top of our cockpit enclosure. But we've been sent 2 new ones by the market leader in off-grid solutions. That's Renogy. And they differ quite significantly from the ones that we've already got. These are the Renogy ShadowFlux series high efficiency solar modules, and what's special about them is they've got Renogy's anti-shade technology in them. So lots of people have pointed out that our boom and our main sail in its bag offers shade to the panels, which it does, and when we're at anchor what we tend to do is pull the boom out to one side so that we minimise the amount of shade on the panels. But of course when you're sailing you can't dictate where the boom needs to be in relation to the sun, so that is an issue, and it's something that we find that at anchor we have to move the boom around a lot to compensate for that. I'm hoping that these panels will make a huge difference to that with the anti-shade technology. Now, one thing I should say is the panels that we've got there at the moment are 295 watts each, so that's just under 600 for the pair. These are 200 watts each, so we'll have 400 for the pair. It will be really interesting to see if 400 watts of new technology gives us a better output than 600 watts or just under 600 watts of older technology. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning and it's pretty bright. I'm having to shield my eyes because the sun is over there behind you in the corner, and what you can see on the screen here now is how much we're getting out of the solar panels on the top. Admittedly the angle to them is really rubbish at 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to do another test later on in the day when the sun is higher up in the sky, but it'll be really interesting to see when I swap these over for the Renogy panels what difference it makes even at this time of day at 10 in the morning. Let's quickly do that. So this is the Renogy ShadowFlux anti-shading N-type solar panel range. There are 2 versions available. There's a 200 watt panel and a 120 watt panel. Of course the 120 watt panel is physically a little bit smaller, so I might even be able to fit another one of those on the coach roof here, and it would be interesting to see how they perform if I put one either side on the rail. So they're installed. On the screen at that side of the screen is what they're producing. I'll just show you while you take that in. They sent as well a fantastic set of really nice lightweight aluminium brackets for mounting them. I'm going to look at those and see if they're going to work with my setup, because as you know I like to hinge mine up to face the sun. However, with these new panels, hinging them up may not be necessary, which means that we're going to get better performance under sail, because obviously we can hinge them up at anchor, right, but we can't really have them hinged up when we're sailing, can we? That's crazy. So these brackets might work. I'm going to check the performance throughout the day. Bear in mind, it's like I say, it's autumn, it's nearly winter here, so it'll be amazing to see how well these perform, but they're really nice. So there they are, smaller, lighter, more efficient. I'm going to fiddle around with them and see, as I say, what I'm going to do with these mounts, or whether I'm going to re-engineer my own mount. But if these perform well, I mean, you can see the shadow on this one right now from the boom, because the sun's just there. So there's shadow here, this is empty, that's empty. That's great. Really, really pleased with this. Just have to see how they perform for the rest of the day. Well, there you go. Those results speak for themselves. They're on the screen. So you can see exactly what's what. And this is a real world test. It's a real world test on a real boat it's in autumn, it's in the UK, it's not baking Mediterranean sunshine or Caribbean sun, it's just a normal autumn day in the middle of September in the UK. And they seem to be doing an absolutely fantastic job. Thank you very much to Renogy for sponsoring the video. They're just obviously performing really well. Isn't it? Much nicer as well once you get the engine off.
Yeah.
Everything just calms down.
That's the thing about all these YouTube. It's always they always go.
Yeah. But also the engine. You know, we've had to use the engine up to here because you can sail all the way up the Menai Straits, but you have to short tack the whole way. And it's if you want to actually get through Puffin Sound at the right time of town and get to Deganwy at the right time of tide, you're going to miss it very, very quickly. Yeah, very easily. Here's our other crew member for today, Rex. Ollie's left Rex, who's managing the main sheet. You managing the main sheet there, Rex. There you go. Are we still pretty much on course for that the fairway marker? Oh God, this is good.
Yeah, I'll check where we're at.
Oh, I've left a halyard winch handle in the halyard winch. Very, very bad show.
Was your being winched off this boat eventless?
It was completely
Very
eventless.
specially done. And
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Talking about which, let's.
where did he come down? Was it
So-
on the back or the front?
They couldn't winch me off this boat because of the amount of rigging, and the sea state was like 2 metre swell and more. And it was just.
Did an inflatable rib come out to you as well?
No, the Tamar boat. We were far too far out for the inflatable. We were miles off. We were 25, 30 miles out from St Anne's Head.
Right.
So we, the helicopter circled round for a bit and asked, and then I got asked the Tamar boat, the big lifeboat, to come out. So I got off this boat onto the lifeboat, and then they winched me off the back of the lifeboat because it's a clear area. But even though the helicopter had arrived there, they had to wait for an hour or so until the lifeboat turned up.
One of the owners of the boat in the yard where I am croaked it the week before last, elderly guy. Yeah, it was one of the really hot days. They went out to one of the islands where that boat ran aground on the rocks, and they decided to go swimming, and he had a heart attack and dead before they even got back to the shore. Yeah, I think he was in his mid-70s.
Right, yeah, awful, isn't it?
had that out in the Atlantic across the Bristol Channel. So when you're crossing from Land's End before you get to South Wales and Ireland, technically that's the Atlantic, and you get big Atlantic swell there. There's the next red, just coming onto the nose now.
These obviously are all flashing, illuminated at night.
Yes, yeah, they'll all have a separate flash pattern. Well, as you can see, as we're coming into Deganwy over the sandbars, there's a lot more chop and swell, but it's great, it's nice, it's fun. We've got plenty of deep water, well, 5-6 metres along here, but it's quite a narrow channel in between the sandbars which are hidden under the surface of the water. So you have to be fairly accurate with your navigation, and I'm just following the piloted buoyed channel here, which takes a bit of a twisted dogleg kind of route into Deganwy.
So here we are in Deganwy Marina, where we'll spend winter fixing the boat, fixing ourselves, building and strengthening our family relationships, and preparing our minds and bodies for the next stage of the journey, wherever that ends up taking us.